Mr. Miller,
What's going on?
making $1 out of 15 cents. What's going on
Yeah,
with you?
I'm massing up right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm
The
massing
shirt
up.
goes with the mask.
I'm massing up right now. The
What does
Mayati
the
man.
what does the mask say?
Mayati. Moneyatti. Mayati. You know?
Which makes sense.
Yes.
Um, because first of all, when I was doing my research on you, I was looking at an interview that you did with Yahoo Finance some
Yes.
years ago, and you said that Magnati was the Bugatti of shoes.
Yes.
And you went on to say, no one is looking to sign the sixth man, but sometimes they become stars. Look at James Harden. And you
Yes.
said he went from being a sixth man on the Thunder to being an MVP on the Rockets. Imagine getting a star like that before they blow up.
Yes.
Bro, that was like insightful as hell.
So, but that's what I'm saying. I tell people, product outweighs talent. And when you get into business, look at what Nike was able to do. Why we can't do it? I mean, Nike was built on Jordan. So imagine we find one of them diamonds in the rough. This brand I have, it's called Minyati, and it's motivating oneself, now encourage you actively to think independently. My thing is to have our people think outside the box. And for right now, once I get that person on the court, I'm about to light it up because I want them to be seen. You're going to know Minyati, this the Bugatti of shoes, and you're going to see us on the court.
For sure. For sure. And I think that's significant because one of the things that I've always respected about you was the independent grind.
Yes.
First and foremost, before we get started, No Limit Chronicles airs weekly every Wednesday. Be sure to tune in on BET at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You turned down a $1 million deal from Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah.
You went independent. You sold music out of the trunk of your car. Respectfully, a lot of times people talk about the music out of the car grind. I'm curious from your perspective, realistically, how different is the Southern support than anywhere else?
Well, the Southern support is just crazy. Like once they love you, they love you. And at that time, nobody was doing what I was doing. I come from the Bay. I went to the Bay for a little while and learned the hustle game there and came back home. And I mean, I just want to thank the fans, man, in the South and all over the world. But first, before we get started, I want to say thanks to everybody across the world for making No Limit Chronicles #1 on cable, #1 BET show. I mean, with little or no promotion. Most people say, P, I didn't even know till the last week that this was coming on a couple of days. And that just goes to show you how God worked. Like, people was like, man, nobody's going to BET to look for this. And like, okay. One thing about God, he'll make your enemies your footstool when you do right.
Sure.
And people all across the world tune in to BET and it made this the #1 show. So I salute to all my fans for believing in our journey and experiencing this moment again with us in history. So it's a blessing to be able to do something 25 years ago and to come back 25 years. This is even powerful. 2 generations of fans, younger people, people our age. It's incredible, man. It's the love. And people said they love how we just kept it genuine and real. We didn't sugarcoat nothing. It's a raw show, but it's a harsh reality that hopefully we save a lot of lives where people look at the good decisions I made, the bad decisions I made, and be able to learn from that and say, let me be the best person I could be from watching other people's mistakes. I want to give people that blueprint. I want people to learn from our mistakes and say, you know, these younger people, that's our future. And the only way they're going to learn, they need to know the real. And that's what I wanted to give them.
For sure. I was on Facebook Live as well as YouTube last night with your brother. I've known your brother Silk for years.
Yes.
And one of the questions that I asked him on the live, he tapped in was, did he have, while the game was on the Lakers and the Clippers, I asked him if he had any aspirations of one day having a partial stake in the New Orleans Pelicans or the New Orleans Saints. I'm curious from your perspective, is that something you'd like to do at this point in your career?
For me, I don't. If I'm not gonna own it, I know we can't control it. And I made a song called "You Need to Know," and we need to get that information. I say this is the realest shit I ever wrote. This is the realest shit I ever spoke. This is the stuff they don't want you to know. But if you get money, this is the stuff you need to know. We need to know economics and banking. We need to know that they give us 1% of these teams minority ownership. That's not enough because we have no control. So if we're not going to own that and be the majority owner of it, I'm good. I'd rather invest in the product, build brands like the Mayadis, the Uncle P Rice, the noodles. You know, I would rather create packaged food goods because if you look at like Aunt Mom and Uncle Ben, those products made billions of dollars, but nobody like us own any of those products. So I feel like that's where I want to be at. I want to be the first in that marketplace with people that look like us, being able to control that and give other people opportunities to create brands and get it distributed into stores, because I feel like that's the next place that us building wealth, where we could build a generational wealth and we can help people in the ghetto, help people in our community to give back because we obtained some real financial, wealth.
Sure. And I think when you bring that up, it takes me back to I took a feature writing class in grad school. I graduated 2011, and I took this class in 2009. And one of the things the professor said was, 10 years from now, it's going to be about trusted news sources, brands, and trusted brands. I feel like you originated this shit before a lot of people even thought it up. Whether it comes to everybody's a brand, everybody's going independent. I'm curious to know, could you start what you did 30 years ago in today's digital climate? What would be different?
If I was a part of my movement was a part of this digital, I would be a billionaire easily because of the work ethics. And I think that if we're gonna sit up and party and play, we're not gonna reach those goals. Sometimes everybody got 24 hours, is what you do with yours. But the way I work, and what I know that we can attain and what we could help and give back with. For me, I don't work for money and I don't pray for money. I pray for wisdom. And I feel like if this younger generation really know they work, like you said, when I turned that $1 million, now imagine if they go there, somebody understand the digital game, instead of getting all these gangsters around and they get some nerds, some computer people, some camera people, and just go 24/7. Somebody's gonna crack that code. And that's all it takes. But this generation got the wrong people around. When I found out you wasn't right, I cut you off. I don't care if you're friends, family members, whatever. You're not gonna stop me from getting to my dreams and my goals, especially when I'm doing right. And I think that's where we have to be at, not be afraid to change and grow up. But it's a lot to be done for this generation. But it's all education, it's all wisdom, it's all knowledge. And you gotta be willing to put the time, study your business, study your craft, stay in there and just make records after records after records after records, and download this stuff to a system on your own. And once you do that and you build up a big fan base, the sky's the limit.
Sure. Tell me something. When I look at 50 Cent last decade, I feel like he created a lot of disruption. Disruption is the wave, particularly right now, because you have social media.
Yeah.
I feel like he looked at Ja Rule as a person he wanted to get on his level. Not a controversial question, but I'm curious to know from your perspective, who is somebody that you saw that you took something from what they did and you applied it to yourself as you progressed?
Well, I'm not afraid to celebrate the people that came before me.
Sure.
Jay Prince, Uncle Luke, Tony Draper, Swab House, those guys came before me. So I took some of their stuff and applied it to my business savvy as a black man to be successful. Even Tupac, I mean, the structure that he had, like for work ethic and being able to make music for the streets, make music for the women. You know, I like the diversity that Tupac did in his music. And that's what I feel like helped me too, to be able to balance. You know, I'm on the streets. Anybody could pick up a gun, right? But to think and to work something out with somebody and make music that make you think at the same time on the street and hard, and then you could go back and make a song you love. You could keep the people that's not here going your music. I mean, that's I think that I was able to see I was around them. I've always take stuff from the people that I'm around. I tell my kids that in basketball. Anybody you play something from their game. You got to respect them, let them know, and show that love and appreciation back. But that's what game is. Take a little and put it in your, you know, in your arsenal, and then be the best you can be. But you also got to be able to celebrate and respect people that came before you. That's just
Sure. Tell me something. Did you watch that game last night, Lakers and Clippers?
Yeah.
What you think?
Man, I think LeBron gonna be something terrible to deal with, man. And Anthony Davis is gonna be, man. It's gonna be crazy. I'm just telling you. I'm gonna tell you what I love though. It's funny. I love the Twins because one is on the Lakers and one is on the Clippers. So,
yep.
You know, I'm like, the Twins go so hard. You know, you can't come out there. I mean, I was watching how the other twin was on LeBron. I'm like, twin them ain't gonna back down for nothing. And I think one of them gonna win a championship this year. So
who you got though?
You know what? I'm just saying. I like the Twins. One of the twins gonna win the championship. That's all I can tell you. One for
Look, that's safe.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, New Orleans Pelican turned Laker.
Yeah.
You being a New Orleans native probably have spent a lot of time with Davis.
Yeah.
Is there anything about him in Los Angeles that has surprised you or reminded you of his days with the Pelicans?
Man, he a beast, to be honest. He can go anywhere. He gonna play hard. I love his family structure. How him and his dad close, and you know, anybody in the league, man, educate yourself. I love that he has people around him that's educated, even though they come from the streets. They with him, because you need your family with you. LeBron around him, he got so many good people around him, and but I just love his own leadership. He know that he's a leader, even though he got leaders around him. So a lot of people didn't think that him and LeBron was going to be able to work, but they, you know, to have two big superstars on one team. But man, they both know who they are, so they both know their roles and they both know their leaders. So I'm really proud of him, you know, stepping up and being who he needs to be, and not worrying about what people say or what people say on social media, because social media is a gift and a curse.
You bring up a good point about father and son. You and your son, Romeo, we know what that is.
Yeah.
You look at the fact that you've always had your entrepreneurial background. You've instilled that thing. I've seen it with Damon Dash, with Boogie. I see what LeVar Ball was doing with the sneakers.
Yes.
And the Big Baller brand.
Yes.
From your perspective, do you think you were ahead of time with the sneakers, and how could they have maybe tweaked it a little differently?
Yeah, I think he definitely was ahead of his time, but I feel like people are going to, you know, dislike you when you're different and you speak out. And he just have one of those type of personalities. But I feel like now what he done with The Rock and hooking up with Jay-Z and they team, and I think that he see the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. And I think that him and his family is going to turn something around because they're very talented. So I just think he's just an outspoken person. So, and you know, when you come from nothing, you excited. You want to show people what you could do. But I think now he got the right people around him. I think he didn't have the right people around him at first. So I'm definitely praying for them. And he got a talented family. He motivated me. to do what I'm doing with my boys. I got two boys, one in the 8, one in the 11. And I'm like, we started our own shoe brand. That's where the Mayati come from. We like, it was a fashion brand. I'm like, no, this go take over this basketball right now while you guys are still in high school, so the rest of the world can grow up with you. So, but we still in that technology part. What I learned from the Ball family is don't just put any shoe out. You know, so my kids are not even playing in our shoes yet. For as basketball, they wear them every day to walk around in. But the technology hasn't been done yet. We're still working on it for that basketball shoe to make sure that this shoes feel good on your feet and you able to play and you able to do what you need to do on the court. Because you know you got to have the right shoes on to play basketball, or you're not gonna want to play, or your feet are gonna be hurting or whatever.
Mr. Miller, tell me something. So you know, there's a whole generation that does not realize that you played for the Hornets.
Yeah.
And you played for the Raptors, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I grew up watching NBA Inside stuff. I was featured on it as a kid. And oftentimes you'd see video of like Amar Rashad in a Sixers uniform, and you like, wait, did Amar play in the NBA? You didn't realize that was part of the video package he was doing.
Yes.
Can you kind of relate a little bit to that? The fact that people see you in the Raptors uniform, they're like, wait, did he play with Kawhi?
Yeah. So, you know, it's like, I know it's difficult for people to see because they don't really understand. Like, man, this man sold 100 million records, but he played in the NBA.
Yeah.
It was a lot of hard work. I was a top high school player in basketball, also in college. So you'll see that in a documentary. Maybe next year you'll get a chance to see, you know, my basketball. And you know, basketball really they like. So you got the second on the music side, but basketball got out of the ghetto and was able to put me in a place to where I could be who I am. Without that, having a coach and understanding of life, taught me a lot of values too. So I know it might shock people to say, man, but they don't know that I really put the work. I had to go to the CBA. It wasn't easy, and to get into the NBA. So, you know, it's not an easy process. So now I was blessed.
And the CBA, we're talking like the Yakima Sun Kings.
Yeah.
I had Phil Handy, Lakers assistant coach on my podcast.
Earl Barkins, me and Earl Barkins used to go at it in the CBA. We both come from the CBA. And
Damon Jones.
I mean, it was a lot of big time players, man, that you might have seen in the NBA that had to work to get there. So my first 10-day, people don't know, was with Steve Nash and the Dallas Mavericks. So, you know, you couldn't wait to get called up to the NBA. So it was a war every night, man. So, you know, basketball was a part of my life. It saved my life, and it changed my life.
So when you were on the Raptors and the Hornets, I know that was the lockout shortened season. So we're talking Toronto. This was Vince Carter's rookie year, wasn't it?
Yeah, Vince Carter. I mean, Tracy McGrady, Charles Oakley, and man, I mean, it had some incredible players on that team. So if you couldn't play basketball, you was gonna get exposed. You wasn't even coming in the gym at that time.
Tell me what practice with Vince Carter was like his rookie year.
Man, I'm gonna tell y'all something that I seen. I seen Vince Carter knock a quarter off the top of the backboard. And when I seen that, I'm like, this don't make no sense. Incredible player, great attitude. That's why, I mean, he stayed around so long. So the guy always put in work.
I was fascinated with an interview that Snoop Dogg did recently where he said you basically saved his life. Number one, you took him house shopping. Number two, you gave him a $35,000 check to, you know, sign with you guys when you saw him in the studio with Mystical. And lastly, you talked him, his kids on the show, so I'll use abbreviations, but you talked him out of putting out a record called F Death Row.
Yeah.
What did you see that he didn't see?
Well, you know, at the time, I come from the streets, and I know how I would react to something like that. Like, you know, you have a mindset where, you know, you're dealing with people that has a certain mindset. And I knew if he put that record out, that was going to be that was going to put those guys against him. He really didn't need that. I see Snoop Dogg as a start. Like, he's not done yet. So I think what Suge didn't see, Suge thought he was over with, he was done. But like, you don't have to fight hate with hate, fight hate with love. Like, you be that man gave you opportunity, made some money with him, he was able to feed your family. And that's what I told him. I say, then you go move on and you go be bigger and better. One day you be the top dog. One day you're going to be able to make so much money to, you know, like I tell them all the time, you know, go to make your enemies your footstool when you do right. I told you, if you do right, you're going to be all right. Now, you do wrong, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. And that ain't what I'm like. We ain't about making about nobody. We ain't about talking about nobody. You know, y'all are two men. It didn't work out. You moved on. And then I went to him and said, you know, what you want for Snoop? And he told me, I gave it to him, and me and Snoop been having a great relationship ever since. You know, that's my real homie. Like, I believe in him, I believe in his family, and I want to see him do well. So I just like the fact that I had that conversation with him. He listened, because most people don't want to listen. So that's the first thing being successful. You have to not be afraid to listen, and you can't have yes men around. You know, I wasn't a yes man. I'm just telling the truth. So somebody else might tell that man, go make that this funny, but that really wasn't funny. Like, you dealing with a serious situation.
So you recently, or years ago, you funded Snoop Dogg's first tour. 50 Cent's first tour.
Yes.
That's when he put out Langston, when he did Get Rich or Die Trying. I want to flip it and ask this question. We talked about disruption. When you heard 50 Cent's How to Rob the Industry, did you laugh when your name was mentioned?
Yeah, I laughed at it because I knew it was just funny. That's I thought. I never took it serious. I knew that this a guy that's trying to come up, and you know that's what he do. But I've never been a person to do that, so that I've always thought stuff like that was funny. Yeah.
Ghetto Dope. I talked to Wayno yesterday. He was on my live yesterday.
Yeah.
He said that you were spitting so much facts, he couldn't get in all the questions. He said you were old school Baptist preacher. You had a sermon for days. Yeah. You had your 3 points in the conclusion. So he asked me to ask you this question. He said, Ghetto Dope. He holds it up there with Reasonable Doubt, Prodigy's album, Nas's Illmatic. He told me to ask you, what was your thought process when you made that? And what was your mindset?
Yeah, well, you know, my thought process was when I made Ghetto Dope is, you know, when you in the moment and you know, like, you come from a world like that and you want to give your best product out to the world. And now I'm growing as a businessman. And I'm like, I want to give the world where I came from and what I've been through. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So that was one of those moments that I felt like, you know, for me, I don't write. So I don't know if people know that. It just pour out of me. Like, I got to turn the mic on and it pour out of me, and I put that into the music. And I have to feel the music. So dealing with Beats by the Pound, with KL, you know, they was pouring the music out and I was pouring out what was coming, you know, out of me. So now I appreciate everybody that believe in that project. And I never wanted to be the best rapper in the world, but I've always considered myself the best hustler in the game. And I come from the streets. I'm not afraid to tell people that I changed and I growed up, and I believe in the man up above. And if y'all follow me on my movement then follow me on this movement to my journey to financial literacy, that I want to give that to the next generation, because we all can make money, but they haven't taught us how to keep it or how to spend it. So I feel like that's the page we got to be on now, to show these rappers and show these entrepreneurs that once we get hot, whether you're an athlete or entertainer, you got to invest in the product, because product outweighs talent. And this is for real. 130 years ago, Aunt Jemima pancakes was around. They made billions of dollars. It's still around right now. They're trying to take it off the shelf. And we thought that was from people that look like us. So we got to change our mindset now. Once you get hot, you got to figure out how to create your own product so that could outlast you. That's the game, because we can't take this with us, but make generational wealth and pass it down from generation to generation like these other cultures do. They own products, they own brands. And you just don't have to own it with your money, you can control it. So think about it, if you got the most shares in it, maybe you might not have the money to make it, but you're gonna find a partner to help you make it. And then you can still have the control of the ownership with it.
That's real.
Yeah.
You, to me, are official on everything, specifically when it comes to hip hop. And I think you're more qualified to answer this question. Number one, have you checked out verses?
Yeah.
What were your favorite versus battles so far?
Snoop and DMX.
Really?
Yeah. It's just, the reason why, I'm gonna tell you, I seen the love in the room. Like, they celebrated each other. That's what I love about that. They celebrated each other, two different dogs from two different worlds, but every time a record came on, they like wasn't trying to outdo each other. They was into each other's music. I mean, that's the love that I want to see in hip hop. That's the way we keep hip hop going. And they both talked about how great each other was to them. And I think that's what we got to be at, giving each other our flowers while we're here, not waiting until somebody gone and say how great they are. So that was the one for me. And I didn't see that coming, but that was the one.
Who would be a worthy opponent for you in verses?
You know, I told you, I just got a lot of hit records, but I've never been into battling. I've never been into, that type of competition. To be honest with you, because I got so much love for all my people, like, that ain't something I ever done. Like, I don't,
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's your thing, some people is serious entertainers. I sold 100 million records, and I probably can't count all the hits I have, but it's so many other great rappers than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I feel. I feel.
No, that's real, and it's interesting because, like, when I see the different verses, you see other, like, for example, if you see Snoop up rapping, you seeing DMX doing his ad libs.
Yeah.
To me, I guess my question to you is, when you're not listening to No Limit music, who in your genre do you play in your playlist?
Oh, easily Scarface, the Ghetto Boys, Eric B. and Rakim, LL Cool J, Jay-Z, Tupac, Biggie Smalls, Eminem, man, I Naughty by Nature. I could go on and on. We got so many greats there. Heavy D, Queen Latifah. I'm just, man, E40. I could go on and on, Too Short. It's just so many, man, because, for me, I don't think our era was about competition and competing, because I put out a lot of records at one time because I realized that in our era, we just wanted good music. We don't care how many see. So when I own No Limit Records, people will come to the store every week, what's new? So I figured out that, me being a businessman, I'm like, okay, they're gonna buy music every week. So I might as well put something out every week. That was my game plan. That's how I sold 100 million records. I was like, once I figured that out, I said, they come in to buy music in my store every week, whatever's new. It don't matter. Why can't I have something new every week? And that was the game plan, knowing that if I sell them one CD or one cassette, that's only $19 or $10. But if I sell them 12 in that period of time, look at the numbers, look at the math. And so that's what I figured out. When you hot, it don't matter. Our people just want good music.
Who are you listening to now?
It's different. I might listen to Drake. I might listen to Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, Polo G, uh, Pee Wee the Long Way, Lil Baby, Da Baby. I mean, Lil Wayne. Um, man, it's Future. Um, I got this new young artist I'm listening to, OG3, NBA Young Boy. So man, it just varies with me. Like I try to listen to the youngsters right now because I want to see where they mind at, and I want to be able to, you know. I started listening to the Baby. I'm gonna tell you when I started listening to the Baby, because a couple years ago, I ain't tell nobody this, but a lot of big stars was telling me, man, I don't know about the Baby, man. I don't really like that. And I'm like, man, this dude is dope. You know why he's dope? Because he's different. He's passionate about, what he's doing. And I just seen something in him. He's street, but, he don't mind crossing over. Same thing with Moneybagg Yo. That's one of my favorites. Let me tell you another one of my favorites. Black Youngster.
Yeah.
I feel Black Youngster's a star. I might do a TV show with Black Youngster. I want to come, like they got the red table. I think me and Black Youngster should do the black table or something, the square table, whatever, because me and him, I feel the OG and a youngster like that, we'll be wild. We're going to talk about nothing but hood ghetto stories coming on this black table,
For sure.
So I really like him, man. I like his attitude. I know he's street, but he got a funny side to him, too. That's about everything, But they know you're a serious guy. I don't mind dancing, laughing, being around my family, but they know if I have to step up, I'm gonna step up. That's what men do. You don't have to be the toughest guy in the world. So I like that you can still be yourself. I've never been a bully. I done stood up to a lot of bullies, and I never underestimated no man, whether he's smaller, gay, or whatever. Because where I come from, I done seen a gay man kill somebody. I done seen a small man take down a big man. So I don't underestimate people. So now I really like Black Youngster. I'm gonna tell you, I like him, man. I know a lot of people sleeping on him, but I think that we need to put that light on him. So Black Youngster, you watching this, we need to do a show together. Our own ghetto stories. We need to sit down at the table and introduce everybody and keep it real.
2 more questions.
Yes.
1, how come Cash Money and No Limit, being from New Orleans, never found a way to collaborate, and is it still possible?
Well, the thing about me, I don't do stuff for money or don't do it, because other people, I've always had love for Cash Money. I think at the time, a lot of stuff was going on, and you'll see it in my documentary, because I didn't sugarcoat nothing. It's like, I want the real to be told, so when the Master P Ice Cream Man movie comes, you'll see all these people, everybody that was a part of it, and I do talk about the Cash Money story. So next Wednesday, tune in to BET. It's the biggest channel in the game right now. Thank y'all for supporting us, but I had a lot going on, man. Like I said, I was from the streets. All my family was in the streets at the time, and it just wouldn't have worked with us doing stuff because our people was at war. They was at all these different things. So like, I didn't want to mix that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to mix that, and maybe they didn't want to. I don't know what it just never came down to that. To where
right.
Let's go to, some of the artists did. That was cool, but I feel like they had their own land, we had our own land, and I think God made it work the way it's supposed to work out for both of us. Look how big they end up being. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I've never judged nobody, be jealous or envy of what nobody have, and I hope nobody do that to me. I don't look at my neighbor to see what they have or what they don't have. God has blessed me what I have. I'm thankful for that, and I appreciate it, and I love and I respect everybody, especially people from New Orleans that made it, because they know what it took for us to come up out of those projects at home. So, man, I'm happy for them, and I think that it went the way it was supposed to go. I mean, those guys was able to do some incredible things the same way we was able to do. So, I mean, it's a blessing. It's a blessing for all of us to be alive right now. So it's a blessing.
That's real. This is like the last dance for hip hop, if you
Yes.
think about it.
Yes. Yes.
Last question. So I feel like this conversation that we're having is almost like Shark Tank.
Yes.
In a lot of respects, because you're giving a lot of free game, you're sharing your story and more. I recently caught up with Mark Cuban and discussed what's next. I'm curious from your perspective, from an entrepreneurial perspective, from a rapper perspective, from an NBA player perspective, what is next? Because we're trying to find what's next in the digital space. What do you forecast is next?
Well, I forecast for African American entertainers, the next thing for us, and me and my partner James Lindsay, we realized that African American people gonna really understand how to build wealth in stock. But we have to learn that first. Technology and stock is gonna be the way for us to create wealth in our sleep. And that's the next level of this, technology and stock, because we buy a lot of these products. So if you're buying a lot of product, you might as well invest in it because you know that this is good product if you're buying it. So you know other people are buying it too. So why not get a piece of that? But you got to start small and build. So I tell people no idea is a whack idea. I feel like stock and I feel like technology is the next wave for us because they don't see us thinking that way. It's not that many of us in Silicon Valley understanding like to make an app, we got to send it off to India. Why we are not creating that? So these video games, our kids are playing a bunch of video games. I mean, it's costing us a lot of money. How come people of color or people in the entertainment world of sports people, why we're not controlling and owning that or coming together and creating our own? So I just feel like that's the next wave for me is understanding stock and technology and being a part of that. That's how we make money in our sleep. And my whole mission is to buy our blocks back. You know, instead of burning them down, let's buy them back. Being prepared, understanding equality, and putting black judges into politics and people that we know and people that we can relate to. That's the only way we're going to change this inequality. So yeah, I think the next level is stocks and technology.
That's it, brother. You off the hot seat.
All right, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Respect.